Well, the buyer's market was short-lived. Unfortunately, if you are a buyer, you may be in a bidding war here in Toronto, and this may have you feeling a little stressed. Will you even be able to purchase this year? How much are you going to pay? How do you make sure that you don't overpay but stay competitive? Well, we're going to answer all of those questions in today's video. If we haven't met, hello, welcome back. My name is Jay. I'm a realtor with eXp Realty, and I help first-time homebuyers and first-time sellers navigate the Toronto real estate market. In today's video, we're going to talk about how you can be strategic and overcome the competition that we're starting to see again in the Toronto real estate market. If you're curious to know how you can win in a multiple bidding war situation, then this video is for you. To remain competitive in a multiple bidding situation, there's actually a few steps that I recommend doing before you even step into your first showing. Number one, of course, is to get your pre-approval. Now, of course, your pre-approval is going to help you with budgeting and making sure that you know what you can afford and what you can't afford, but also having a pre-approval letter attached to the offer that you're going to submit is going to strengthen that offer. The second thing that you can do is you can move your deposit, which is traditionally around 5% of the purchase price, into an account that you have access to and that you can make liquid pretty easily, as having your deposit ready in hand is going to strengthen your financial position in an offer situation. The third thing to do before even starting to show properties or take a look at properties is to hire a knowledgeable realtor that works in that market. Having somebody who represents you on your side that knows the in and out of the market is going to give you that competitive advantage against those who have maybe agents from out of town. So you're now ready to start booking some appointments and walking through properties. How can you stay above the competition in your viewing process? The first thing that I recommend for all first-time homebuyers is to stay flexible on their schedule. Assuming that we're in multiple offer situation, that competition is probably a lot higher. So it's going to be in your best advantage to get into those properties as quickly as possible. Once they're listed, we want to take a walkthrough because oftentimes those amazing turnkey properties get snatched even before the offer date. The next thing to consider is knowing the difference between market value and list price, because these two numbers are very, very different. Market value is what the property is generally going to go for. And we can evaluate the market value based off of past sales, based off of the features and functions of the home. But the list price, and we've said it before, is truly just part of the marketing. So in a competitive market, we often see listings go up on the market far below where they realistically or where the market value is going to have them land. So if you're shopping and you see an ideal, beautiful property and it's $50,000 less than your max budget, there is a chance that that property is actually going to sell for far more. And this is really the importance of understanding your market value versus your list price. The next piece of advice I recommend in a multiple offer situation is to offer strong. As a general rule, if there is 3 offers on the table, I encourage my clients to offer their final and strongest, because there may just not be another opportunity to strengthen that offer. Now, on the chances that there isn't 3+ offers, then I encourage you to still go in with a strong offer, but maybe we're allowing for a little bit of flexibility that if we do need to counteroffer, you have some room in your budget. During the pre-work before we draft an offer, we will talk about what your max amount that you want to spend on this property is. This will be a really important guiding number in the process, because we want to make sure that we stay within that limit. A lot of times buyers get really caught up in the emotion and then they just want that property that they throw their budget out of the window to get that property. We do not want to do that. That is not going to set you up for long-term success. So knowing your limit and playing within it is going to be a really big advantage point when competing in multiple offer situations. The next strategy that I want to talk about is strengthening your deposit. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the traditional or general deposit is around 5%. If affordability allows it and you can make these funds available, we also encourage buyers to have a higher deposit amount. Now remember that deposit amount will come from your down payment or will be part of your down payment, but having a higher deposit allows for the seller to see that you're financially strong and that you're basically putting your money where your mouth is. In addition to increasing your deposit, having your deposit attached to your offer is also going to be a way that you can strengthen your offer in the seller's eyes. Traditionally, the deposit is due within 24 hours of an accepted offer. So if you have yours and you're the only offer that has the deposit ready to go right there and then, that is going to give you a leg up on your competition in that offering situation. The next strategy that you can consider is waiving conditions. Now, there is of course a little bit of risk to this one, and it's not a fit-all situation. We want to make sure that we have conditions and clauses in our contract to protect you in all situations, but depending on your product type, depending on your experience, there is ways that we can lessen the road of offer to closing by limiting the conditions. One of my favorite pro tips is adding a little personality into your offer. So for a lot of my first-time home buyers, I encourage them to write a letter about themselves, sharing some of their goals, some of the dreams and aspirations that they have, and how this home is really going to be the setting of this next chapter in their story. If there is moments or things that we can draw comparison to while walking through the property, for example, maybe you're a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs and there's Toronto Maple Leafs memorabilia in the property, we can draw a connection because we know that sellers are going to want to sell to someone that is like them. When we're drafting up an offer and we know that we're going to be in a competitive offer situation, I often will reach out to the seller's agent and understand a little bit better on what the sellers are specifically looking for in their contract. Something that often comes up in conversation is the closing date. So if you are flexible as a buyer on your closing date, this could be a way that you can get an advantage over your competition. The next way that you can stay ahead of competition is by looking for the ugly duckling. If you've been around for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of purchasing the property that needs a little bit of facelift. We know in 2024 that the properties that are turnkey, that need no upgrades or changes, are going to have the highest competition. So in reverse, if you find a property that needs a little bit of upkeep, maybe some new paint, new floors, that could be a really great way for you to curve the competition and have built-in equity on day one. I'm a big fan of always tying back to your why. In multiple offer situations, there's going to be a lot of emotion and stress, lots of different phone calls and text messages, and it's really easy to get caught up in the emotions. But if you can take a moment and remember your why, that will be your guiding light through the multiple offer situation. Maybe your why is that you need more space for your family, or maybe you need to be in a school zone that is ideal for your children. All of these things are going to be your top priority over making foolish mistakes just to get that property. My last pro tip is don't fall in love with the property until your contract is firm. I have seen it so many times where clients get really excited, they get caught up in the emotion, and the deal falls through. It's really hard to get that client back engaged with the process of finding their first home. So until we are firm, we are not falling in love. If you want more information on how you can win in a bidding war, then you need to check out my buyer's guide. There's a link in the description box below where you can sign up for my buyer's guide that has tips, tricks, proven strategies to help you overcome the competitive Toronto real estate market. If you like videos like this, please go ahead, like, subscribe. We post content just like this every week for first-time home buyers and first-time sellers. It was such a pleasure. I'll see you next week.